Now this morning I was thinking about a special theme, and the theme is what belongs to me and what belongs to you. I have something special that only I have, and you have something special that only you have. Everybody is special, and therefore everybody is different. It's obvious, isn't it? From the thinking, it is obvious. You see? Now from the application in everyday life, it makes a big difference whether we acknowledge that we are right exactly as we are, and that the others are right exactly as they are. And only because they are different, and in the differences are right, they can make their contribution to the whole of everything, and therefore are in the service of something that goes beyond themselves. It's also clear? So. But what happens if I think that I should be different from what I am, and that another person should be different from what they are? And it shows in our souls when we criticize somebody, if we find fault with somebody as he or she is, and if we find fault with us as we are, what happens at that moment? If we find fault, we behave as if we can decide what is right. At that moment, we have an image of what is right, and we judge what is right or wrong with us or with another person. And in this way, shall I continue? We create a world according to our image. Isn't that strange? We create a world. We behave as if we are like God, deciding how things should be. Fortunately, we never succeed. Well, there's a common human behavior, see? If we didn't succeed the first time, we must succeed the second time. As wrong it may have been before, you see? Then we try again, and try again, and try again. And though we become people who want to change the world. And those who want to change the world never succeed. Never. Or, yes, everybody changes the world because he or she is as they are. But only if they admit that everything is right as it is. Now in family constellations, there are many movements, you see, many different experiences, and some people think this is right and this is wrong. And if they would keep to what they have and what their achievements are, everything would be all right. As soon as they say that the others must follow them, then they have an image of what is right and wrong. And in this way, we lose a connection with a creative movement that directs us in a way that we can never foresee. Therefore, my position in all these differences and conflicts or seeming conflicts is I acknowledge that they are right in what they do, and I stay with my experiences and I agree to them as they are. And if we exchange our experiences with mutual respect, we grow. But everybody grows in his or her own way. And this consenting to everything as it is, that is worship. The real worship, a humble worship, and a successful worship. Okay, this was my sermon today. Is this your first child?
My second.
Your second child? Uh-huh. And the first one, how old is it?
She's 1 year and a half.
1 year and a half? Is a daughter?
Yes. I have another one here. I have another one here.
Another daughter?
Yes.
Okay. And how was the birth of the first child?
It was surprising. It was surprising. She came early, and it was three hours.
Well, it's normal, more or less. We're lucky. Yes. So, sometimes I help pregnant women by a story. Should I?
Yes.
There's no harm to it, you see? Yes. There's no harm. Now you feel you get really tired, see? And then you go to bed and you fall asleep. And in sleep, you begin dreaming. And in your dream, you move out of the house there, wide open space, and you breathe deeply and say, what a wonderful time. And then you walk and you come into a wood there, and there's a bench, and you feel you get tired, and you sit on the bench there, and you fall asleep. And in this sleep, you also have a dream. So you said, where shall I go? And you said, well, I have no fixed aim. I allow myself to be driven wherever I feel I will be led. And then you walk there, and you look around there, and birds are singing, a soft wind is in the trees, and as you walk, you stand in front of a mountain. And you said, well, I'll wait. Perhaps something will happen. And you sit in front of the mountain there. And as you look at the mountain, you see there is an opening. It looks like a cave. But you say, I take my time. Why should I worry? And after a time you said, no, I feel I will dare to walk in. Then you walk in there, and it is dark. And there, a little bit slippery. You have to move very, very softly and carefully. And there you move on there. And you feel, it's quite easy. Very easy. I just follow where I feel my hand. And as you walk forward there, you see at a distance a light. And you say, it's not so far. And then you move on. And then suddenly you feel it only takes one step. And you take that step. And then you sit down and say, it's so easy. And suddenly you wake up. Okay? Okay? Good.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay. What I demonstrated here too is, of course she has forgotten what I said, so that doesn't matter. It's part of that. That is the change of images. We have so many crippling images, you see, very often, you see. And here, with other images, we have a different feeling, and we have a different strength. You stopped at the right time in the movement. I saw it.
I stopped.
I saw it. What they were just about to do, but you stopped it at the right time. Did you also observe what you wanted to do? Of course. Good. So there are some learning experiences now, but you went back to the old ways.
I pay attention.
Okay, now what's the issue?
Well, I have to choose one, and the thing is, what comes up to my mind in this moment, I think it would be the better thing to work. Well, I had something like 2 weeks ago, which I had never had before, but that I observed in my family with all my sisters, which was a panic attack. A panic attack, like anxiety disorder. How could
I don't understand.
Experiencing panic.
Panic attacks. Oh, in your family are panic attacks? Who has panic attacks?
Well, my sister, I'm the oldest, my sister had, I have 3 sisters and all of them had. And I had never had that before. And I was in Thailand, and well, I was in a shopping center buying something, and suddenly that happened. And I thought that, well, I think I'm having this, and I want to go to a hospital because, well, till one point I could control it, and then I couldn't control it anymore.
I couldn't follow her, but I think I got the main point too.
Well,
Well, you stand there.
I would like to add something.
You stand there. You look this way, and you clench your fists. Yes, look there, angrily. And you shout out loud, I will kill you.
I'll kill you!
Go on, go on. Enjoy it.
I'll kill you! I kill you!
Tell her, I'll kill you. Clench your fists.
I'll kill you! I'll kill you! I'll kill you!
And now you say, please.
Please.
It sounded almost like I will kill you. No? Go back again. I have to exchange her. She had an intention. She was a therapist, so I can't rely on you. I need somebody else. I'll take you. Any quick movement shows they are no longer in connection with the movement of the spirit mind. Couldn't be more aggressive, you see. Now you tell her, I'd rather kill myself.
I want to kill myself.
I'd rather kill myself.
I'd rather kill myself.
Okay, we have seen enough. Thank you both. No, you can sit down there. Now, I explain what we could see, you see. Many rather die than to honor their mother. We see this with many illnesses. For instance, women with cancer very often say, I'd rather die than to give honor to you. Of course, this is a kind of suicide as well. Here we saw the same dynamic. See? Now, how could I tell her she should say, I'll kill you? See? Well, whenever there are panic attacks, you see, they're all the same pattern. They are a defense against the murderous impulse. So don't deal with panic attacks. Deal with the aggression behind it, you see. I don't repeat it. Then there are other defenses of murderous impulses. For instance, epilepsy, if they're epileptical attacks, they are defense against murderous impulses. And of course, when children have that, there's somebody else in the family who has that murderous impulse, and the children take over for them. That's why we never treat a child with epilepsy. We set that up and we see who has a murderous impulse. And if that comes to light, epilepsy of children is over. Very easy to heal, if you know this dynamic, you see. And if adults suddenly become epileptic, they have a murderous impulse themselves, and they defend themselves against the murderous impulse by having an epileptic seizure. And of course, panic attacks, wherever you meet them, they are a defense against the murderous impulse. See? And very often, of course, if I do this exercise, as I did it here, suddenly those who say, I will kill you, feel they are not themselves who have that impulse. But here you had it. You had it. I don't have to bother. I brought something to light. And the way is to look at the mother. And sometimes there are situations where something happened in the family. And the first time I observed this was in Japan. There was a woman who said she wanted that her mother dies. And of course, a person who has that impulse is lost for me. I don't work with them. See? Here too, I wouldn't continue working with her. I leave them to their destiny. And there in Japan, I forgot about her. That's my kind of protection, you see. Instead of bothering, I forget the people. That's, by the way, that's a spiritual exercise, forgetting. Then, 10 minutes before the closure of that workshop, she came up and asked me to help her. And I set up a constellation, but it was to no avail. And then Harald Honen, who was my cameraman at that time, accompanied me to Japan. He said, we have to have eine Ahnenreihe. We have to, what do you translate? A row of the ancestors. So I set up a client, opposite of her, her mother, behind her, her mother, behind her mother, her mother, her mother, 8 generations. And then the mother of the client turned towards her mother, and there was no connection. She turned to her mother, there was no connection. She turned to her mother, no connection. Until the 8th generation. And this woman looked to the floor. Then I placed a person there on the floor, and was obviously murdered, you see. Of course, in your family is a murder, quite clear. Must be. From this behavior, there's murder in the family. Then, that woman crawled on the floor to that person on the floor and embraced that person with deep love. And then the mother went down to that person and they reconciled. Then she could look at her daughter with love. She turned and could look at her daughter with love. And so on, through all these generations. And at the end, that woman who had that murderous impulse before was crawling on the floor to her mother, embracing her knees, looking up to her and saying, "Dear Mom." It was a background, this is the systemic background of such a situation. Okay, so I think it helps you if I explain that there are other dimensions. But if I look at her, it was of no avail what I said. It was of no avail, unfortunately. I see everything. Now I do an exercise for myself, you see, because here we were moving within the realm of soul. See? And now I look beyond that, you see. I look beyond her, and I look beyond her mother, and I look beyond the others who have panic attacks in her family. And I look at that spirit mind, and I say, please. Okay, what's the issue?
I developed what became diagnosed as epilepsy when I was about 12 years old. And I would like very much to understand more about what you concluded yesterday's session with, and to see if there's any possibility that I can become aware of family situations or find a way of examining I hate to use the word cure, but some way of no longer having it.
I didn't understand the beginning, can you?
He has epilepsy.
Mm-hmm.
Nick, when did you get it?
12.
He has had epilepsy since he was 12.
Of course, I observed you when they were talking. I observed you. And the image was that you are quite happy with the situation. Isn't that strange? I make you thinking, that's all. You don't have to answer. But I tell my observation. No, wait. I take my time, you see. And of course I also train you in perception, you see, that you observe what observes with a person, and then you find a way to help. Now the first thing when he smiled, you see, how old was he when he smiled? Was it a smile of an adult, or was it the smile of a child? Same. Now you have it again. You see, you cannot control that. Of course, that's what's beautiful. Now, how old is that smile?
Possibly about 10-ish. About 10.
Yes. Yes. There's nothing bad about it, but it is a help to take these things seriously, you see? And we get a context of epilepsy for you, perhaps, you see? What happened in the family about that time?
Nothing dramatic. I had a very lucky childhood, happy childhood. There's nothing I can put my finger on which would be a trigger.
No. So we don't have to believe him, you see, because when he was telling about his happy childhood, he always shook his head. So you can't deceive yourself and you can't deceive others. Not that you do that on purpose, of course. I won't say that. But it's not a perception, you see. Well, the question is what to do now, you see. So, I take you, Jakob. You are the secret event. He was immediately in it. As soon as I said that, he was already in it. You know what that is? That's the beginning of an epileptic seizure. Now you stand opposite. Sit here on the floor, just sitting. There we have the murderous impulse. Shout loud.
Hi!
Loud!
Hi!
Loud!
Hi! Hi!
Now you turn. Look at him. Now he's shivering. Now you stand up. You know what that means? He's holding his hand so that he's not killing somebody. Take you. I think I can interrupt it here. Thank you all. You sit close to me, Mr. How are you doing now?
Sorry, I didn't quite catch that.
How are you doing now?
I'm very tired. And very confused.
You are not, of course. You know exactly what was going on.
I don't know what was happening. I was surprised. I was very surprised to have felt quite so much in my body, which is my first experience of that in a constellation. I was very surprised how uncontrollable my left arm was. So there is something happening.
By the way, this aggressive man was a child, of course. Typically, aggression of a child. That's why he calmed down, you see. And the mother helped him. So it was not the aggression of an adult. It was the aggression of a child. And my image is he took over from somebody else. Does it make sense for you what I say?
Yeah, I'm just wondering what about taking over from somebody else, but yes, the rest makes sense.
Yes, it was clear. That's why he calmed down after he expressed that he could calm down, you see. And the woman went over to him as if a mother went over to a child, you see. There are many secrets still. There are many.
Scary.
You like them. You like them.
No.
Of course, we saw that you like them. You know why you like them? They give you a sense of power. And it's not advisable to give that up. Especially if you get a seizure and others get afraid. That's a wonderful feeling, of course. Now you close your eyes, see? Now look at you in front, you see? You are now out. There are two persons, one sitting here and one over there. And the one over there has a seizure, you see? And you look at it. Just look at it. Is it worthwhile? Does it help anybody? He still enjoys it, of course. He still enjoys it. So he doesn't deserve any pity, you see. We allow him to shake, you see. And we turn away from that. Leave him alone with his seizure. If nobody pays attention, it's not worthwhile, of course. Now you close your eyes, and I give you a sentence, and when I have that sentence, have said that sentence, you wait a moment to let it take its effect, and then you return to your seat without saying a word. You see? The sentence is, I do better.
I do better.
We don't know any details, and yet something was set in motion, you see, in a very strange way. And you may ask why did I do certain things, you see? I followed an observation. For instance, when you were standing here, you were looking over there, briefly only. You didn't dare actually to look at that. And then I had the image, there was a child sitting on the floor. That was my image. You see? That's why I chose her to sit there. And then she was looking over there. So I chose you to come here, see? As soon as you turned up, everything was changed. All were looking at you. You were a central person, you see, in this constellation. Whoever, I don't know, you see. I don't need to know. And then the event was interfering in a way, you see, with her. And that's why I pushed you out and brought him in to face her. See? Obviously you had done your job, see? You could lie down. Still you had a close connection to the person all the time, you see? Because you were representing epilepsy in the end, you see, the whole way you moved and showed there was clearly epilepsy, you see, and there was a connection there. see, whenever things don't move on, you see, I let things develop and suddenly it doesn't go further, then usually another person has to be brought in. That's why I brought him in. And there we saw the aggression. This is the aggression that is avoided by epilepsy, the one you showed, you see. And I allowed you and asked you to express that aggression, you see. And all were afraid, you see. They didn't look at you. That's why I turned her to look at you, you see. And immediately there was a close connection. You calmed down immediately and you became a child, you see. It showed that the aggression was not a murderous one of an adult. It was the aggression of a child taken over from somebody else, whoever that is, you see. So, and then I felt there must be another person brought in. That's why I chose you, and I didn't know what for, but it had an effect, you see. And at the end, he was slowly moving away from all this, you see. You tried to keep him, but he moved away. And that is the basic movement of a solution, see? You move out of it. And, but we didn't have a definite conclusion, but it doesn't matter, because these things go on. And it needed some personal work I had to do with him to expose his inner images of triumph, you see, and intimidation, intimidating others with his seizures. But I spoiled the game a little bit, you see. So we shall see what happens. Okay? Good. Now, epilepsy with children is easily healed, very easily healed. You don't have to be afraid of that, you see. And you set that up, and I take a representative of the epileptic child, and I let him clench the fists, you see, and as you did, and shout out and so on. And suddenly the child knows these are not his own feelings, they're other feelings. And in this way, suddenly it's clear he takes it over out of love for somebody else. And if this has been exposed, epilepsy has gone, you see. So it's very easy way helping people with epilepsy. And don't be afraid if you have to do with this, you see. It says epilepsy is a defense against the murderous impulse, but not their own impulse mostly. It's the impulse of somebody else. And it may have go over several generations, you see, going far back. There's something else I would like to mention here in this respect. You see, much psychotherapy and also the way we do family constellations, very often, we go back to an event in the past. So we bring it to light, and we want to resolve the present with the help of solving something in the past. Well, I'll do an exercise with you about the past, perhaps, to train you about how to deal with the past. And of course, the great achievement is if the past is allowed to be over forever without being mentioned anymore. Okay, close your eyes. Now you go back to your childhood, to a situation where you felt lonely. Nobody there to care. You need somebody to take care of you or to be present, but nobody is there. And this is an image. You have an image of the past, of such a situation, and this image creates some feelings. The feelings are connected with this particular image. An image of the past. And now you change the image. You allow yourself to remember situations where you felt in good company, happy, feeling at home and secure. And you develop that image with other images of a similar kind. And you allow the feelings in your heart to be according to these images. And then you look at the present, to people who would be very happy to see you, to exchange something with you for a common endeavor. And you bring those positive images of the past to the present, to that present situation. And we shall never be alone. Okay? I have a strange image about going back to the past. Always reconsidering what had happened in the past. The images of a dark. the dog left something behind and returns to sniff at it all the time. But then there's no shit anymore, and the dog makes an image of the shit and sniffs and sniffs and sniffs again. This we call psychotherapy. I would like to do something more superficial. Not going so deep, you see, something very practical. So if I would do something about success, you see. If there, of course, in this group, nobody's here who is a failure, you see, of course. Or fails constantly, otherwise they couldn't have afforded the fees for this workshop. Now, sometimes people have to make a decision, you see. They have a situation, for instance, they live in the house where people are unhappy. Or people die in that house, you see. And for a long time, or they have bought a house and they can't finish it, or they've bought a business and it's a failure. And these things are connected with certain events very often. And if somebody has a situation like this, we could look at it and we could learn a lot for ourselves in this respect. Describe briefly the situation.
I have two houses, one in Watford, which is London, and one in Birmingham, which is Midlands. I want to sell the one in Birmingham, and it's not moving, and I've got it up for sale. And now I'm hivering and hovering about which house to live in.
You have two houses, and you want to sell one of them, and you don't know which one to sell and which one to live in? Is that correct?
I actually did a Constellation on the houses, and the one in Birmingham is my oldest house. I've had it, it was my first.
I don't want to have the details, because we see that here, see? So we need two houses here, see? Okay? And they don't tell the people which house it is. I say the first one, you decide what it is, and I don't know which one it is, see? So we keep it secret, you see? Now, the first house, you see, would it be represented by a woman or by a man?
A man.
A man. And the second?
A woman.
A woman, okay. Now, who volunteers for the first house? You, okay, come here. And who for the second house? Okay, you. You stand here. And you here. Did you perceive that it makes a difference whether I put the man here or whether I put him here? Did you perceive that? Now change, then you see the difference. Does it make a difference? Therefore, you get an immediate perception of what is correct. So you change again. We just look at the houses. What happens? You? Okay? You represent her, you see? This house does not belong to you. It looks somewhere else. There's a connection, not here. Thank you all. Is it clear to you?
Yes.
Of course, something has happened with the other house. You didn't acquire it in a proper way. So it doesn't belong to you. It's no use to keep it. Clear enough?
Yes, thank you
I don't want to know the details. Okay?
Thank you.
Good. It's very easy, you see, to reach a very far-reaching decision in 5 minutes. See? Because here you see what is appropriate and what is not. And you can't have success at the cost of somebody else. That's impossible. Well, it was a very short example. Somebody else who has a question in this respect? Take you. Now, briefly say what the situation is.
I'm just trying to make a decision what I should do in terms of where I should live, where I would like to live. I'm Brazilian and I've been here for 20 years and I'm considering going back. And I think this is holding me back professionally and I just don't know exactly what to do.
Of course, I know already what would be correct, but we look at it, you see. So we take a representative for England and one for Brazil, isn't it? For Brazil, we take a man and a woman.
A woman.
And for England?
A man.
Okay. And for your profession, I don't know what the profession, don't want to know what it is, but for the profession, do you take a man or a woman?
A man.
A man. Okay. You choose the people. 3 of them, yes. Now this is Brazil, and this is England, or?
Brazil is England.
Now you need somebody for the profession. Just sit here. They will move by themselves. Where is the future? Clear?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
It has far-reaching consequences for him, you see. And very briefly we can see where the deeper movements go, you see. Of course, I knew right from the beginning that you have to go back to Brazil, of course.
Here in this place, I'm never alone. I scrutinize this turbulent soul, and I cannot distinguish what's wrong and what's right. Is it too heavy? Is it too